Alrighty, so link to internal sections of a page with anchor elements. So anchor elements can also be used to create internal links to jump to different sections within a web page. So to create an internal link, you assign a link's href attribute to a hash symbol plus the value of the ID attribute for the element that you want to internally link to, usually further down the page. You then need to add the same ID attribute to the element you are linking to. An ID is an attribute that uniquely describes an element. So below is an example of an internal anchor link and its target element. So here we see the anchor tag, which is right here, and the href is actually going to the hashtag contacts header. And this is actually called an octothorpe, but I'll typically refer to it as a hashtag symbol just because it's easier for me to say that than octothorpe every single time. And so what it's saying is whenever we click on the contacts link, or it describes it here, when the user clicks on the contact link, they'll be taken to the section of the web page with the contacts header element. So basically, instead of when we click on this, it goes to a different page. Instead, if we're trying to navigate to different parts of the same page, whenever we put the octothorpe and then an ID here, it will actually jump to where the ID is at. So in order to pass this challenge, it says change your external link to an internal link by changing the href attribute to hashtag footer, and then the text from cat photos to jump to bottom. So let's go ahead and do that. So instead of here, we want to navigate to our footer, and then we also want to jump to bottom. Okay, and then we're going to remove the target is equal to blank attribute from the anchor tag, since this caused the linked document to open in a new window tab. So let's go ahead and delete this. Okay, then add an ID attribute with the value of footer to the footer element at the bottom of the page. So let's go ahead and add an ID is equal to footer. Okay, and so that should go ahead and run the test. Awesome, you're out of sight. And that's pretty much how you would solve this one. So there are some core principles that I want to talk about going through this lesson one more time. So I'm just going to go ahead and reset the code. And I think I have to actually reload it, otherwise it'll still save it internally somewhere. So let's go ahead and break down some of this, right? So right here, we have an anchor tag, right? And right now what it's doing is it's saying target is equal to blank. So whenever you see a target is equal to blank inside an anchor tag, what's going to happen is it's actually going to open up a new tab, and that new tab is going to immediately go to FreeCatPhotoApp.com or whatever the URL is in here. So if I click on this, I should expect a new tab to open up that is at FreeCatPhotoApp. So let's go ahead and click. And here's the new tab. This is at FreeCatPhotoApp.com. And of course, it's an adorable kitten. Okay. So another thing we can talk a little bit more on is, let's see here. Let's go on to the next thing, which is, let's go ahead and delete this. And we're changing this to hashtag footer. Okay, so this is where we're introduced to the idea of an ID, right? So every single HTML element, we can actually give it a name, right? Or better known as an ID, right? So in this case, for this challenge, what we did is we said, all right, for this footer element, we want to give it the ID of footer, right? It doesn't have to always just be the name of the tag. You can actually just put this one as like ID is equal to last paragraph, and I can even put like ID is equal to hello, right? But an ID like this isn't very intuitive. Like it's not obvious what this paragraph is doing. So ID hello probably isn't a great name for a paragraph tag. But like this, if I'm saying last paragraph, you know, that somewhat at least makes sense about what this name is for, or what the naming convention was thought about. All right. So anyway, so notice here that when we put it in an anchor tag, right, there, the octothorpe is here, but it's not in the place where the ID actually is. So whenever we click on something here, it's going to navigate to wherever this is. So let's go ahead and have some practice. right? So a, right, a tag, and let's say we want to go to last paragraph. So in order to navigate to the last paragraph, we want to go ahead and set up the ID of last paragraph. Okay, so if I click on this, awesome. It tries to bring it up as much focus as possible up to the top, but since it's so far down on the screen, it actually doesn't raise it all the way up. But typically what will happen is it will try to take whatever's here, and whenever we click on this, it will actually try to bring it up right here to the top left. But since it's so far down, we can't even see it. The only other thing I really want to say is that IDs have to be unique, right? So if this one is last paragraph, this one can't be last paragraph. Since this is footer here, this one cannot be footer. Let's actually see what happens if they're both footer. Actually, I don't think we'll be able to really tell since everything kind of goes up. But instead, let's do this. Let's take from here. And let's give the image actually an ID. ID is equal to footer. And let's see what happens when I click on it now. See, what happens is that footer actually becomes the new focus right here. And because we have two footers, it goes to the first footer that it hits. Okay, so in this case is this image. I don't want it to be this image, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this ID. And so again, make your ID values unique. So we have this one unique footer right here, and let's go ahead and run the test. There should only be one, jump to bottom. Oh, sorry, I think I refreshed this page, so let me go ahead and let's see here. Let me go ahead and do what I need to do to pass this challenge. So jump to bottom, right? And that is more intuitive text. It goes to the bottom. Run the test, and Thundercats, ho!